This is the Unstarving Musician podcast. I'm your host, Robonzo. The podcast features conversations with me, indie music artists, and industry professionals, and it's all intended to help other indie music artists be better at marketing, business, the creative process, and all the other things that empower us to do more of what we love. Make music. Thank you for joining me for yet another episode. We're getting pretty close to 200 here. I can't believe it. I'm honored, though, to have you, even if it's the first time you've ever been here. And if it is, you're in for a treat, because my guest today is Alyssa Trahan. Before we get to that, if you love this podcast, or if you think you're going to love this episode, or you end up loving it, please subscribe or follow. They're changing the lingo. It's going to be follow pretty soon, but please subscribe or follow the podcast. Tell your friends. It really does help other indie musicians and indie music fans find the podcast, which is a great way to support. And speaking of supporting the podcast, if you're an indie musician, consider signing up for the Unstarving Musician community, which you can do at unstarvingmusician.com. By the time you hear this, you will be getting a new little goodie for joining. But the thing that you always get is insights, tips, tricks, I guess. Good stuff that'll make your music journey a little easier. And it's not just for me, but it's my experience plus the experience and insights of the hundreds of other musicians that I've spoken to as part of this podcast and the Unstarving Musician project, musicians like Alyssa Trahan. So yeah, you get an occasional email from me, plus you'll find out about the latest episodes, and there's that new goodie I was talking about. It is in the form of a sample of survey questions I sent out to musicians, including Alyssa Trahan, and I provide the answers that Alyssa and some of her peers gave to some questions that I was really interested in knowing the answers to, and I think you'll be interested too. I learned a lot from these, and I know you're going to like it. So yeah, unstarvingmusician.com. Sign up for the community. It's free. You can unsubscribe at any time, and it's a great way to support the podcast. So Alyssa is now an official two-timer. She's my guest for this episode, as I said, and this is her second conversation for the podcast, making her a two-timer. And I couldn't be happier to share it with you. The format is a little bit different in that our chat was part of that survey I mentioned to you. I was doing it for the second edition of the Unstarving Musician's Guide to Getting Paid Gigs book that I wrote a while back, working on a greatly expanded version, a new and improved one. So if I sound like I'm reading questions, I am. Funny thing is I always do, but because I was diligently taking notes, I was typing, which is also kind of silly if you think about it since we were recording. But I wasn't sure I was going to use this as a podcast episode, but turns out I'm using a few of the conversations I had for the survey as episode material, and this one came out great, other than the fact that I sound like I'm reading. But this is a good one. Alyssa is firing on all cylinders, in my humble opinion. There are, of course, things she could be doing better, which she confesses, but still, she's killing it. Alyssa shares, among other things, the struggles she's had, much of which have been pandemic-related, but she shares a lot of openly vulnerable moments, one of the things I love about her. As we all know, many musicians are struggling right now, so, yeah, we can feel for her. We can relate. There was a ton of good stuff in the conversation, though. Possibly my favorite was what Alyssa had to share on new music release strategy as it relates to video and the importance of content in general. But man, Alyssa shared a lot of important and useful insights. All right, then. That's it. Please enjoy this conversation with me and Alyssa Trahan. What do you think the number one reason is that other musicians don't get good gigs?
Oh boy. I think the number one reason would be not appearing professional. I mean, I know when I was first starting out, I didn't have like the website and the social media presence and like a resume, if you will. But once I got all those things put in place, it was much, much easier to book gigs. And especially now, a venue wants to go to your website, your Facebook, your Instagram, your YouTube. If you have music out, they want to see what your numbers are like. That's the first thing they want to do. So I make sure that I have, a great looking website. Everything is like a package deal almost. Like everything makes sense together. And I've been told by multiple venues that that is a very great thing to have. And I know a lot of people that say, oh, well, I don't really want a website. I don't really want to do the social media thing. But then that prevents them from getting gigs.
And when you say resume, you talking about like an EPK or just the whole package, like you say, makes up your resume for the venues?
I mean, like past gigs. Like I've booked a lot of venues that I'll go in and say, hey, I've played at these so-and-so venues around these areas. They're very similar to your venue. I think we'd be a good fit. Or also like, hey, I've opened for so-and-so and so-and-so. My band and I would love to play for you. So just to have like a track record of gigs,
Sure.
So they know that you're not just, I don't want to say a newbie, but they know that you're serious, that you're taking this seriously, and that you're going to be professional when you show up. You know what you're doing.
Was starting out locally a good or part of your approach for building fan-based community?
Totally. Yeah. Absolutely. Starting out locally was huge for me. And actually, basically how I got into playing my own gigs was I was invited by a local musician where I'm from. He was a pretty prominent local musician, and we had some friends in common, and he invited me to play at his show as kind of like a guest, I guess. And that really just got the ball rolling for me. That really allowed me to kind of make a name for myself locally. And then once I, got my feet wet locally, I could then look at moving to Nashville, which is what I did. And it was just great to start out in the hometown, have that support, and just grow from there.
Was hometown, I forget, New York or somewhere in that
Rochester, New York. Yeah. So upstate, pretty far from the city. So it's like, if you're looking at New York like a shoe, it's the top of the foot.
Okay. God, it's been a while since we spoke. The story's coming back to me about moving to Nashville.
Yeah.
So when I mentioned collaboration apps, there's a new, I don't know if you saw this article I wrote for Forbes, but there's kind of a newer breed of them that allow musicians to collaborate with each other and also collaborate with their fans, or allow their fans to collaborate with them. Have you ever used anything like that, or have any familiarity with them?
Really the only like collaboration I've done electronically would be co-writing over Zoom or Skype. And I've also done some writing sessions where we throw tracks back and forth over email and do it that way. I haven't really done any apps that allow that, but I think that sounds like a cool thing.
Yeah, just, FYI, one of the things that's happening with some of those platforms is it's a new way to engage fans and to find out what they want musically from you. So it's kind of interesting, worth exploring. So
totally.
Are you using any community building platforms like Patreon or Bandcamp or some other one where you have subscription-based patronage?
I am. I'm on Patreon, which I started in January of this year, which I'm so thankful I did, because I kid you not, my fans that are subscribed to my Patreon are literally the reason I've been able to pay my rent, pay for groceries, pay my utility bill, things like that. So it's been a huge, huge blessing. And it's fun too, because in there I do live stream shows. I give them like sneak peeks of the album I'm working on. So it's really, really fun. And it's been a great way to keep really connected to those fans, because a lot of those fans in there would come to multiple shows of mine. I'm used to seeing them a lot. We're like family at this point, and it's been weird to not see them. So now I feel like I can still connect with them, and I can also pay my bills. So that's really great.
Yeah, that's amazing. Cool. Glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Do you give music lessons, or have you ever taught students? And if so, do you do it online?
I've never done like actual lessons. I've helped some friends learn some stuff. I've been thinking about doing that, but where I am in Nashville, there's so many teachers already that are struggling to get students. So I kind of don't want to jump in there and do that whole thing, I guess.
Do those ones you talk about struggling, are they mostly doing local students, or are they like online and grabbing students from all over the world? Or
they mostly do local students. I have a few friends that work in music stores and they have students that way, but they've been affected terribly by the pandemic too. They've lost almost all their students. Sure. I do know some people that do it online, which seems to work okay, but they tell me that people typically prefer in person, so they end up not being able to keep a lot of students all the time. But yeah.
Yeah, I guess the online thing is a different approach now that I think about it, because I've talked to some educators, but they're kind of creating it. It's sort of that content creation approach where they're creating all these, different courses or modules or lessons or whatever, and so it's for sort of mass consumption. But
Yeah.
and then they all have their way of interacting with the students, which is of course good. So, all right. What is your current marketing strategy for new releases, or at least your most recent strategy?
So obviously we've had to do everything digitally. So I haven't been able to do like release parties in person. I haven't really been able to do the radio visit thing. So the releases I've been putting out this year, I've put out, let's see, 3 under the pandemic now. And a big thing is announcing the release date and trying to get pre-saves or pre-ads on Spotify, Apple Music, all of those. Really pushing for those because that helps you get on playlists, gets your numbers up, gets on the algorithm. So focusing on the pre-saves, and then also trying to have a lot of content around the song. So what I've been doing for my most recent ones is I'll have the actual song with, the cover artwork and the photos around it that I can post on, say, Instagram. I'll also have a lyric video, a music video, an acoustic performance video, and a behind the song video. And I've also done, which I kind of tie this in with the behind the song video, but because I've been producing my own stuff all this year, just totally on my own in my studio, I'll kind of do the making of video. And fans have liked seeing that, which is really cool, but really just focusing on content. And I've also been working with a PR team that has been trying to get me into, blogs and review sites and big platforms like that, which definitely helps. But it's all just content.
Good to know. That's cool. I like all the video stuff that you're doing. It's I don't think I've had anybody yet, both in just asking for personal reasons, and this question's kind of there for personal reasons too, but in doing this survey, nobody's really talked about these different pieces of video that they do, but the video is very important. It's been kind of been a bit of a thorn for me lately. So I've decided to move forward with the song, and the video will just trail because I'm afraid it's going to not happen if I don't. So how many times, I know you're using a PR firm or person you just mentioned. Have you done it before? Is this like, one of many times you've paid for PR in the past?
So this is the first PR company I've worked with for real. I've had some friends in the past kind of help with it, but they weren't quote unquote PR. So this is the first year that I've been working with them, which has been really cool. Kind of a weird thing to get used to, because again, they want a lot of content too. So that's a big reason that I've been putting out so much. So, they're always like, hey, we want you to do this. Hey, can you do this? Hey, can you do this? So it's
put you to work.
Yes. But I like that. I want that.
Yeah. That's neat. I like it. Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good.
How has social media helped you get your work out into the world?
It has helped tremendously. I mean, I'm at the point now that I have fans in other states, other countries that otherwise would never have heard my stuff. Like, I've established kind of a big following in Australia and Turkey, and it's been so cool to see my music reach those areas, because otherwise it's like, how would they have ever heard my songs, So it's pretty crazy. But it's so cool that anybody can discover your music at any time just by scrolling on their phone, whether they click on a hashtag or it's shown to them under a suggestion. It's crazy to me how you can connect with all these people all around the world just with like an app or a website. It's crazy. So it's definitely helped reach more people quicker too, because with traditional PR and plans and all that kind of stuff, you could try to reach people over there with radio and like print sites and magazines, things like that, but put in social media and you can get over there in seconds. It's crazy.
Yeah. Do you find that some of those people are buying too?
For sure. It's crazy. Like over in, especially in Turkey and Australia, again, they are so engaged. They're buying my stuff every time I announce a new song. They're pre-saving it. They watch all my stuff. They comment. They like everything. So it's crazy how engaged they are.
What are in Turkey? I'm just curious. Are they expats or are they natives of Turkey?
They're natives, I believe. Sure. I did a video with a guy that lives in Rochester. He is from Turkey, and he's a huge influencer on YouTube. And he reached out to me and he said, hey, like, I want to have you on my YouTube channel. Would you want to come on? Just a heads up, you might get a lot of fans from Turkey. And I was like, cool, that sounds like fun. So we did a video together, and it was so crazy. He's got like hundreds of thousands of subscribers, like loyal subscribers. I did a super short video with him where I played just a snippet of a few songs of mine. And that day and ever since, it's just been like, my analytics in Turkey are through the roof. I'm not even kidding you, I get at least like 5 messages a day from people in Turkey saying, hey, we love this song of yours. Hey, we love this song. Hey, will you come to Turkey and do a show? Oh my gosh, I saw you in that video. And it's just insane that one video I blew up in Turkey. So I guess I have to tour in Turkey now.
That's amazing. There's this artist. He is a blues artist. He's of Indian descent, and he decided to, I don't know if he created it, I think he might have, but create this genre called Bollywood blues. So he integrates that Bollywood sort of whimsy from his childhood with blues music. And he's been on my podcast like 2.5 times, like one of them was a bit of a mini episode to announce a big Sony India thing. But, and then Ghana's a huge podcast platform in India, and that rolled out very recently. And I think because of his episodes, I'm like, wow. I've heard other people had a lot of listeners from India with the introduction of Ghana. But I was kind of shocked. I'm like, it must be because of him. So
it's crazy. One person, one connection, and then you're like established in a country.
Yeah, I've heard stories like this in different arenas, but yeah, there's like this one person, this one moment, this one platform, that changes everything. Mm-hmm. What's been your number one challenge in keeping up with social?
I think the number one challenge is just the amount of content that's already on all the social media platforms. So trying to be heard and seen, like through the noise, I guess you could say. I mean, especially here in Nashville, I don't even think I want to know how many other musicians are here trying to break through, but let's say you post, I just released a new song, go buy my new song. At least 100 just that hour are also posting, hey, I just released a new song. So just trying to stand out and trying to make your brand, your content, your everything memorable so people keep coming back. I think that's been really hard. And especially now under the pandemic, everyone's focusing on social media. So it's definitely become even more crowded. And just trying to find your space, trying to find where you stand out best is definitely tricky.
Yeah. I imagine it plays tricks with your head too, because it looks all the more crowded. The search may feel literally different, but I imagine just the overwhelm of knowing how crowded it is sort of can be distracting in and of itself.
Oh, for sure. It's so hard not to like click on a hashtag or click on someone's profile and then compare yourself and your numbers to theirs.
Yeah.
Be like, oh shoot, they have like 2.7 million followers. And you're like, I do not. So yeah, it's difficult.
We will be right back after this word about our affiliate partner, Bandzoogle. Musician website and direct-to-fan platform Bandzoogle is celebrating their 17th anniversary by giving back to artists in need using their newly launched integration with print-on-demand provider Printful. The company has created exclusive merch for sale, donating all proceeds to the Unison Benevolent Fund, Canada's leading music industry charity. There'll be a link in the show notes to the Bandzoogle shop for this, but you should check out the merch. There's a lot of cool stuff there. I looked at it today. T-shirts, hoodies, stickers, masks, coffee mugs, all good stuff. They're all available through a Bandzoogle-powered website, and profits from all sales of the 17th anniversary merchandise will go directly to Unison's Emergency Mental Health for the Music Community campaign, with Bandzoogle matching donations up to 5,000 Canadian dollars. There'll be a link to Unison's Emergency Mental Health for the Music Community campaign, as well as a link to Unison Benevolent Fund for you to learn more. Bandzoogle is the most effective platform for musicians and bands to build their website and manage direct-to-fan marketing and sales, powering over 55,000 websites. The all-in-one platform features powerful design options, a commission-free store to sell music, merch, and tickets, a built-in mail list tool, detailed fan data, integrations with social networks, and more. Plans start at just $8.29 a month, which includes a free custom domain name. Artists can try it for free at bandzoogle.com, and you can use the promo code Robonzo to get 15% off your first year subscription. That promo code again is Robonzo, Robonzo. And now back to my conversation with Alyssa Trahan. I'm thinking this is maybe a twofold question because back then and now, but how do you make performances memorable for audiences?
Yeah, so before the pandemic, when in-person shows were allowed, I really like to engage with fans as much as I can. So if there's like, a song that we can get them to clap along, I try to get them to clap along. If there's a song that kind of requires some audience participation, I try to get them singing along with us. We try to keep the energy the whole time. I'll point to people in the crowd. I'll just interact with them. And I also like to make sure I stay after my shows and meet everyone that wants to meet me. So I'll always have kind of like a mini meet and greet at my merch setup, and people can come up and we'll just kind of hang out for a bit before I pack everything up. And I also like to make every show like its own event. So like I really take everything seriously. I show up and I'm sparkly, I'm decked out, I'm an artist. I'm trying to make it so I'm not playing in arenas, but I'm acting the same way as if I were. Even if it's a really small venue somewhere that only holds like 50 people, I'm going to put on a show like I'm singing at Nissan Stadium. And now with live streams, I kind of have done the opposite. So a few live streams I've actually been like in my pajamas or in a Snuggie, just something that's like totally opposite from what I do at my live shows. It was called the Comfy Couch Tour, where I did live streams. We started off with a little mini online tour, 5 days in a row, a different social media platform every night to kind of pretend it was a different venue. And then we extended that every Sunday for 22 weeks. And it was just fun to like show up in my pajamas and my slippers and have like a cup of tea or something. And people seemed to like that. They thought it was silly because they're used to seeing me in, bedazzled jackets and sparkly heels and things like that. And also, even on the live stream, I would make sure to engage with people. So answer questions, respond to comments, do requests if they wanted them. Just trying to keep that same energy, even though it's obviously a very different thing in person versus live stream.
Sure. What did you learn anything interesting or surprising from the multi-platform tour thing?
I did. I learned that every platform is a lot different in terms of like the audience you get on there, how they function, how they work, the quality. And I learned what my fans prefer best, and they preferred Facebook the best. So we ended up doing, when we extended it for 22 weeks, we did Facebook every Sunday. But they're all so different, like really different. You would think that they were all pretty much the same on every platform, but I mean, they all have different settings, different qualities, different options, different like viewers that are allowed. So it was kind of tricky on the ones that I wasn't familiar with.
That's cool. It's interesting. I would have expected it would be pretty different, but I don't have the experience that you now have to know what are those differences. But do you include email as a way to maintain, communication with your fans and supporters?
I do. I have an email list. That's been another great way to keep reaching people. But the only problem is some people will put like their work emails down. So then I'll send out my email blasts and I'll get a couple responses saying, oh, I'm not in the office due to COVID. If you need to reach me, here's my cell number. So that's been kind of a bummer, but I do have a pretty big email list at this point that has been really helpful. And we found out that the email list is actually one of the top ways that we get impressions. So when I have a pre-save up for a new song, my email list is where a lot of those end up coming from.
Specifically with pre-saves?
Yeah, with pre-saves, or if I have, say, a new video, a lot of the impressions come from, the click-through on the email.
It's cool. It's frustrating to talk to so many artists that don't do it, and about half of those or more know they should be paying more attention to it, and then there's another half that's just like, nah, I'm just you're killing me. Have you, or do you use artist management of any kind?
I do. I have a manager that I started working with end of last year, I would say, or middle last year, I guess. And that's been really cool. I've been kind of, building a team around me, which has been really, really great to just have, people building you up, people that believe in you, like you believe in yourself. So it's been a really cool thing.
What's your, you've mentioned some of them. Are there any challenges with live streaming that you haven't already mentioned?
Yes. The fact that you need Wi-Fi. We had one instance actually where there was a really big storm here in Nashville and we lost power and we also lost cell service. I think one of the cell towers got knocked down or something. So I was supposed to have a live stream and I ended up trying to get in touch with my manager and I was like, I can't even post on Facebook to tell everybody I can't do it. So he ended up having to, post on Facebook for me and say, hey, like, we can't do it tonight. We're going to do it tomorrow. We lost power. We lost Wi-Fi. We lost everything. There was a tree on my patio. It was pretty concerning. But so every time, the weather would be not ideal, I'd get really nervous because we could lose power at any second. And we live in kind of an older building. So I don't think the wires are very strong, I guess is the word. So anytime there's like a thunderstorm, really, really heavy rain, we lose power. It's just a common thing, I guess.
Yeah.
So every time we'd be doing a live stream, if there was thunder or lightning, I'd be like, oh no, guys, we might lose power in any second. It only happened once, thank God. But that's definitely something that I wasn't anticipating.
Wow. I was thinking that through in my head and realizing that my scenario is different. I haven't, not for live streams, but like for what we're doing now, or I'm doing a podcast interview and, power goes out. And we've had a lot of, this season, we've had a lot of power outages. Today, we're actually not in the hurricane, but there's a hurricane that's hitting like the coast of Central America. So we've had a lot of rain and wind. So it's a great day for the power to go out. But our building has a generator that powers one outlet in the house, which is for the refrigerator. But even if we ended up moving our Wi-Fi router over there, because loss of power doesn't mean loss of internet service necessarily. There has to be something pretty big going on. But there's always this brief moment where there's a click over between generator and power if it flickers. So I bought a battery backup. So that's helping a lot. So you don't get, you have time to plan for making that change. But I'm remembering, not everybody has a generator of any kind. So then if power goes out, you're just kind of screwed. Yeah. Maybe
There's an apartment, so we rely on them.
Yeah. Maybe, let's see. I suppose a battery backup would be good because at least it would give you, maybe up to a half hour, depending on what you have, to say, okay, you either finish or you can't. But you could get on social. So if you had like a battery backup for your Wi-Fi connections, for instance, I suppose that could still work. It's just not it's not a day-long solution.
Right. Yeah.
So interesting.
I'll have to look into those.
Yeah. I bought an inexpensive one, but actually I had it modified because it made this horrid beep that you couldn't change through software. So I had a friend go inside and get rid of the little speaker that would beep every time it was on battery. I'm like, I can't have that going on, all day.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. Do you involve your fans and supporters in any facet of the creative process of your music, or something else about, maybe not the song specifically, but something else about what you do?
Yeah, I mean, I share a lot of like exclusive behind the scenes kind of stuff in my Patreon. So people in there get to vote on things. I share unreleased demos in there, so they get to tell me like, oh, we really like this song. Oh, we really like this song. Or, oh, I want to hear like this on this song. We want to hear it more produced. We want to hear it stripped down. So that's definitely the place where people get to get more involved. And I feel more comfortable sharing stuff in there because it's exclusive and it's not just like out for the entire world to dissect.
Yeah, that's nice. That's cool. Good thing to do. Have you taken any music lessons in the recent past?
Not in the recent past. I have done watched some videos, I guess you could say. I've been trying to better my skills at mixing. Like once I, finish the whole track, I produced it, I usually send it to somebody to mix, but I want to get better so I can do it myself. So I've been watching a lot of like online, I don't know if I'd call them courses, but tutorials, I guess.
Like free content?
Yeah, just on how to, better my skills at mixing and just, be able to do it on my own.
Do you use Pro Logic or Pro Tools?
I use Pro Tools.
Okay. I was about to tell you I'm using Logic, but I was about to tell you, and I'm pretty new to it. I think I sent you my song, but I did the drums and vocals at home, and fortunately I have a friend who's a bona fide engineer and great musician who added a lot to it. But yeah, I was about to say, if you come across some you think I should watch, please forward them.
I only do Pro Tools. Sorry, I tried to do Logic at one point because I knew someone that had it and I could kind of mess around with it, and it was so crazy going from Pro Tools to Logic because Logic is almost too easy for me now. Like I get confused because it's so simple, and I go back to Pro Tools and I'm used to all these like little tricks you have to know, little go arounds and just how the interface works. And I go to Logic and I'm like, there's no way it's that easy. There's no way.
Yeah, my primary collaborator for the song I did, he's a Pro Tools guy, but I'm giving him files and he's passing files back to me, so it's no problem. What's the single most important thing that has helped you be a better vocalist?
So the thing that has helped me be a better vocalist, probably just practicing a ton. I did end up taking some voice lessons before the pandemic, which was definitely a help, and just to get some tips on breathing and how to get the tone you want, but just singing a lot and hearing myself when I record. So let's say I go in, I'm putting vocals down on a new song, I can hear it in my head when I'm singing, obviously, and I think it sounds a certain way, but then I hear it through the headphones of what I recorded, and it's always crazy because I'll be like, oh, this is not how I thought it sounded in my head. Like I need to adjust how I'm singing it to make it sound like this. So that has been, I think, what's really helped me grow the most is just recording and hearing myself and kind of being the person that has to like fix all the mistakes I make. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I said this weird here. I'm off key here. I didn't breathe well enough here. And that kind of forced me to be better, I guess.
When did you take those lessons?
So I took those lessons. It was probably maybe December.
I would call that the recent past, by the way.
Oh, you would? Okay. I always think recent past is like the last 3 months.
Nah, it's all relative.
I took 2, which was really great. But yeah, it was before the whole pandemic hit. So now it's kind of like, how do you have voice lessons if you can't do them in person, Because you have to like be with someone and see how they're breathing, see how they're like shaping their mouth. It's pretty difficult.
Have you ever worked with a career coach?
I haven't, no. I've had like mentors, I guess, but I've never worked with someone that like that's their job.
That's right. Yeah, we talked about some of your mentors in the beginning, I think, when you were on the podcast, I think. In your opinion, what's the number one reason other artists struggle to stay focused on making music?
I think artists are oftentimes the people that get in their own heads too much. We overthink things, we compare ourselves too much, we let ourselves get kind of depressed about things. So I think the number one reason is just overthinking and not just following your gut, following your heart. Like a lot of people say, follow your gut, but take your head with you. And I kind of like that because especially in music, you get that gut feeling about something, follow it. Don't get in your head and think, oh, well, what if this, what if that? Maybe I should this, maybe I should that. It's just so easy to like ruin things for yourself,
Sure. Yeah. You mentioned practicing earlier. How often do you practice of any kind? I know you play multiple instruments and sing, but What's your practice routine like, or do you have one? By the way, a lot of people I've
Yeah.
talked to are like, I don't.
I mean, I don't know if I can say that I quote unquote practice unless I have like a song that I'm not the best at playing the part. I need to get better. Like I just did a new demo where I had a co-writer and he came up with this really cool guitar part that I wanted to learn so I could play it myself on the final track. So I had to practice that for a couple weeks and really nail that down, which I would just practice for like an hour every day until I really got it. But usually I'm playing every single day when I'm recording and working on the album that I'm working on. So I feel like my practicing is just playing. When I'm not trying to practice, I'm just playing and kind of getting better as a result.
What's the number one thing you're struggling with right now as a musician or songwriter?
For me, which I kind of just talked about, but this year has been really tough, obviously, and it's been really hard to just kind of push all that out from like, the pandemic to the election to all the disasters that have happened to some personal stuff I've had. It's just like, it's been hard to kind of push that out, focus on me and my music and not let it get me down, get distracted, get depressed, get frustrated. Just, I've had to get better at like turning off my phone, staying off of Twitter and Instagram, and really just focusing on what's happening in the moment and what I'm trying to do.
That's a good thing to practice, turning off the phone and getting off social.
Yes.
All right, that's it. Thank you for listening. I know that was an abrupt ending. Like I said, I didn't know I was going to use this as an episode, but hey, it was really great. I had so much fun re-listening to that. We recorded that way back on November 3rd, which I guess isn't that long ago, as I'm recording this for you for the upcoming episode. It's February 12th, so it's a little ways back. We're reflecting on times past during the pandemic, right? And before I let you go, please check out my new single, On Top of the World, at robonzo.com. From there, you can stream it on your platform of choice. You can download it for free. You can buy it. But most of all, you can hear it. That's robonzo.com, and the song is called On Top of the World. The Unstarving Musician podcast is made possible through the support and generosity of listeners like you. One of the easiest ways to support the podcast, if you're a musician, is to join the Unstarving Musician community, which you can do at, you guessed it, unstarvingmusician.com. You can learn about other ways of offering support by visiting the Unstarving Musician crowd sponsor page at unstarvingmusician.com/crowd sponsor. And if you have feedback, please go to unstarvingmusician.com to get all my contact info. You can text me, call me, email me, leave a voice message right there on that page. Just go down to the bottom of the page and you'll find everything you need to know. I really would love to hear any of your comments, suggestions, questions, whatever you've got. And you can find links to just about everything talked about in this episode at unstarvingmusician.com/podcast. All right, I'm peacing out. Thank you for listening and sharing with your musician friends and fellow indie music fans. Peace, gratitude, and a whole lot of love.